and gentlemen.
What is up, crew?
What up?
How are we doing, folks?
Dude,
Chilling.
I just got back from the Olympics. I competed in the men's gymnastics
The pommel?
skateboarding division.
Oh, skateboarding.
Gymnastics skateboarding.
Ah.
The combination, the new one they just added. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it was good. I got last place. Pretty sweet.
As you should.
Yep, yep,
You don't like to gloat.
yep. I got first in qualifying though, which is kind of weird.
That's
I
odd.
don't know how. I just blew it that day.
Maybe try harder.
I think it's because I got shit-faced hammered the night before.
Mm.
So not the best move.
Very
when you have to
athletic
go.
of you.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love this super true story.
Yeah, I
to just
know.
start the podcast off right here.
Yeah.
that's how we do.
That's how we do it. We tell it. We straight and narrow.
Yeah.
You know.
Folks,
No bullshit.
welcome back to the Producer Lounge.
Wow.
That's right. Your weekly music production broadcast. Brought to you by Always 400. Folks, if you're new here, we're going to chat about music production, and that's it. Okay? So if you don't like
That's
that,
it.
go ahead and keep scrolling. But if you do, stick around. You know? Stick around.
And we're not gonna derail. It's
never.
strictly music production chat.
That's right.
Except for right here at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the Olympics. We have to talk about it for a sec.
I guess.
Yeah.
I
guess.
don't know anybody who's watching the Olympics, but
True.
here we are. Folks, we have a special episode for you today. It's episode 168. It only happens once.
It only happens one time.
And our featured guest this evening is Chef Wamp.
So,
Give a big round of applause.
Go.
First timer over here.
And
Dub legend of the black box.
that is true.
I don't
Yeah.
know about all that, but
And also joining us as an auxiliary guest
a face you might know.
is Any Heights.
That's right.
Wow.
Albuquerque boy
Amazing.
coming in hot.
Welcome
He's
back,
back,
Victor.
everybody.
He's back.
Yeah, we got a jam-packed fucking table here.
Yep, a good panel for you guys today.
Vic, this has got to be like episode 15 with you by now.
At least.
Because I think last time I counted, it was like 11 or 12. And there's been a few since then. So you're just a fucking alumni
Stacking 'em.
staple over
Stacking
here.
'em.
You're basically 1/10 of every episode we've done. If we're at like 168.
Yeah.
He's basically tenured at this point.
Mm.
Yeah.
1/10 geared.
Our biggest investor, if
That's
you will.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, he is on the board.
He might be very smart for that too, because
That's true.
the money it's coming eventually, right?
I mean, he's the one who paid for the mini functions on the shelf
That's
over
true.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly not cheap for a 1-to-1 scale of mini functions.
No, they are there's lots of electronics
Yeah.
packed in there.
Those are working function ones
Yep,
right there.
yep.
Like,
They get as loud as any other function one you've heard. It's true.
It's true.
It's fucking true, bro.
can you imagine if function 1 made like earbuds,
Ooh, I would buy those.
but they're still in the shape of a function 1 for no
That would
reason?
be odd.
You just have to shove it in your ear.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What a fun anecdote.
Guys, like I said, strictly music production.
Yeah.
Yep.
Strictly.
Yeah.
Speaking of music production, first question right off the bat, Chef Wamp, how often do you use compressors?
too much probably.
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting answer. I like this. A lot of people nowadays are like, fuck compressors, I don't use them ever. I just fucking put Camel Crusher on it and fucking ride.
Clip to zero method, boy.
Which I get both sides. Like if I'm using a pad, I'm going to probably compress, if it's a kick drum, it's not getting compressed.
Yeah.
Although sometimes my drum group, I'll do some parallel compression, like some New York style if I want some like pumpy washiness, on top of it. But
I don't
Yeah,
think putting
sure.
Camel Crusher on a pad is like ever the move. 99% of the time, I'm gonna say that's not the move.
But that
I don't know.
1%.
Yeah.
Break the rules. Why not?
Break. Okay. Yeah, you're
Hey.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I should break out of my comfort zone and fucking distort some chords.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
The
Because
chef knows.
Yeah.
Chef knows. Teach me the ways.
Gotta break the rules.
I got you.
Yes,
Yeah.
chef.
Yes, chef. That's it right there. That's it.
Yo,
And Bit for the podcast just started. Go.
Random anecdote. Are you a chef?
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's,
Oh, you're actually a
that's
chef?
kind of
Yep.
what I thought.
Oh, what?
Yep.
Let's go. I didn't know that.
Kind of what I thought.
That's what's up.
Do you like the carnitas?
Oh
Is
yeah.
it right? All right.
Yeah. Edible.
Hey.
The carnitas were edible.
That's all that matters, dude. All
They
that
were
matters.
reheated, to be fair.
Yeah.
What's your specialty dish?
See, I hate that question.
Sounds like
honestly.
dubstep probably is the one.
Well, possibly, but still, like I don't
divert
know.
immediately.
I'm-
It was a terrible question. I get that.
No, I just hate that like generalizing it like that. Like I like
Yeah.
to do a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I think the people that are like, oh, this is my favorite thing to make, aren't the people that are actually like putting in the hours and busting their ass.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
if it
call
was
'em
like
out.
The
what
chef
I've
has a
made the
work ethic.
most, yeah. If it's what I've made
Let's
the most,
go.
probably burgers. But you know,
Sure.
it's pain in the ass. So.
What's your favorite genre of food
Well, so
to make or cook?
Yeah, so
Or
I was
cook or
trained very like classic French.
Okay,
So
yep.
a lot of like butter, pretty much.
Mhm,
As
mhm.
long as it has butter, we're good.
Amen.
Let's go. Yeah.
Folks, butter is not bad for you.
No.
Don't listen to big news or whoever's saying butter is bad.
Don't listen to the news
Listen.
in 1990.
Right. Sugar is the devil, not butter. You want that fat. That shit's good for you.
Mhm.
And nothing tastes better than cooked in butter. Dude.
Oh. I've talked about on the podcast, like how skateboarding has kind of been like a discipline that's taught me to, like, it's okay to make 1,000 shitty songs and then get one good one.
Sure.
So I'm sure being a chef, like working in that kind of environment where you just like hyper disciplined, people are like screaming at you, fucking, that's gotta add something to that music production world where you're just like a little bit more tough when you're talking to a promoter or like someone's trying to take advantage of you or some
Right.
shit like that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm a skater first too. So
Oh, are you?
yeah, I've been
Let's go.
been skating 20 years. Like
I
that's
thought so because of the outfit. When you showed up, I was like, this dude 100% skates. But we just didn't talk about it yet.
Yeah, no, I definitely skate. I grew up skating, and then my dad owned a restaurant, so I've been in a restaurant my whole life, pretty much.
Oh, gotcha.
And but yeah, like I think the biggest takeaway from it is like work ethic, honestly,
Yeah.
and like
Mm-hmm.
when pandemic happened, I was like bored as shit, and that's when I found music, and I just put my like work into that, and just I would spend 12, 16 hours a day just sitting in Ableton. So
Amen,
That
brother.
a boy.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. You're like, oh, if I can chill in this 120-degree kitchen for 8 hours, like I can learn this shit. I can
Yeah.
make,
Yeah.
I can make some
Right.
beats.
Right.
I'll go level black box after 4 years of doing this.
I miss those days where I would just be sitting there in front of the computer like for all fucking day if I could,
yep.
just working on beats. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's hard.
It doesn't
come?
work that way.
I don't miss those
I get
days.
burnt out. I just like stop doing good shit.
Mm.
I don't think of things to do. You know.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
You
need
just gotta make
breaks.
more shitty shit. That's the key.
Yeah. Make 400 more.
Yeah,
Come on, boys.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but also like the rest of the life needs a little bit of attention as well. So
That's fair.
I gotta sparse it out, and if I can kind of get a little bit here and there, it seems to be the best way to do it. I like having like some good creative brain energy happening.
Right.
So if I'm like worn down by a full day of work or whatever, my brain is just not. It's not firing that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right.
So I like to use those like juicy bits of energy for the music, and then I can play video games with the rest of it or whatever, or go to a show or something,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
whatever the thing is.
Yeah, it I find I definitely make better decisions when I'm inspired, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, there is like things you could do when you're not inspired, but it depends on if you're the kind of person who does those kind of things. Like I hear from people like, "Oh, if you don't feel like making music, you should organize your
That's always
sample
the one.
library." Like,
Mhm.
Organize
you
a sample
gross. I'm
library.
not doing that.
Oh, I love that.
There's a search bar
I love that
for
shit
a
too.
reason.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the
Mhm.
best.
Yeah.
No, I have a search bar.
Yeah.
There's a search bar.
That's
I'm in the DAW.
yeah.
I can just search and then I can find the thing I need.
That's the
Like-
whole like ill methodology thing. Ill Gates's concept, which you
Sure.
guys are both familiar with, being dojo black belts.
Hey.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, definitely not.
But yeah, his whole thing is like,
there
yeah, if you-
probably is a black belt, right?
No.
In the
Like an
system, there's no
actual-
belts.
No.
Oh, I thought
okay.
there was.
Interesting.
thought-
Oh, there
was.
is a black. I thought you were saying he was.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
We're
There's
Oh, okay. I'm just saying
Yeah.
he does have like belts
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
associated with levels or whatever.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not black belts, guys.
What are
So,
you?
I don't remember.
purple.
I think I'm purple.
White belt.
Yeah.
I think I got to brown.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is
It's
brown
like-
right before black?
Brown and purple are like same, I think.
Okay.
Like
Purple's
Which one is
way
you?
cooler.
what's up?
You got a purple?
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd much rather have
Hold
a
on.
purple
Hold on.
belt
I
than a
didn't know
brown
that
belt.
you were purple, so I can actually give a shout out to Wamp on the purple. The purple belt is awarded, if I remember correctly, only one person at the discretion of the dojo gets purple belt.
Oh.
So it's like a
shit.
distinguished member. So like just cause
Oh.
I never got a purple.
Yeah, you like.
So like that
it's
was
like
definitely
the-
a distinguished belt.
damn,
It's
we
like
got
the
a purple
fast
belt.
pass to brown.
We got a
Let's
purple
go.
belt on the
Yeah.
pod.
They just give
tonight?
like one person a
What the
year
fuck?
Something like
the
that.
belt or
Just
something.
whoever-
Dude,
just
let's
whoever's
go
killing-
then, buddy.
Whoever they think's killing it, they're just like, all right, motherfuckers going in.
Right?
Give him
Holy
purple.
shit. Give him
Damn.
to perp.
Big ups.
I
Big
didn't
ups,
know
my
that.
guy.
That's cool, man. Hell yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
It's huge, guys.
All right. What do you use compressors?
Yeah. Back to compressors.
I am actually curious where you're enjoying a compressor.
Well, so I use Ableton glue compressor a lot.
Yeah,
But I have
yeah.
this rack where I have it split because like somebody told me in the beginning that like it only picks up the transient from like the left or the right, so I have it split so it picks up both. So like
nice.
Oh,
Beautiful.
I've never thought about
Beautiful,
that
man.
even once.
yeah.
Oh, you
so,
have to have a
like,
stereo glue.
Yeah.
Make a stereo glue tonight.
What?
So I use that on like everything pretty much. Like my drum groups, like if I'm making a snare, I'll put it towards the end. Like
Gotcha.
it's kind of
gotcha.
just like my like glue pretty much.
Right,
Like
right.
finish everything off.
Little clipper slash
Yeah, it has
glue.
a.
Or yeah, are you clipping with it?
Yeah, it
so
doesn't have the. clip
yeah,
option.
like I have it on, but like I don't really like
Smash
think
it.
about it too much, you know?
That's good.
like I do the clip to zero method, but I'm running like G clip to cut peaks and shit. So
Shout
I'm
out-
just
shout out
like
G-Clip.
pushing hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I like Bitwig. Caleb and I use Bitwig. We use. I mean, you're using some kind of a clipper, I think. I'm using either our saturator within Bitwig, which is, it's just a wave shaping.
A wave shaper.
Clipper.
It will clip.
Yeah, yeah. It does some other wave shaping things, or like M wave shaper is sick as fuck.
Yeah, it's really
Right.
good for
Love
clipping.
Wave Shaper.
Yeah, the
Oh.
new Bitwig 5.2 shout out just came out with their own proprietary clipper now, and it's called Over, and it's fucking beautiful. It will do multi-band clipping, although like there's no way to like see what it's doing. You can just like turn it into a multi-band clipper. So it's kind of like hard to say what it's doing per se. I haven't like messed with it enough to figure out what's going on.
Mm.
But it's fucking beautiful. It's transparent as fuck, or it slams hard as fuck.
nice.
Yeah,
But-
I haven't had like noticeable moments with it yet, personally.
Mm.
But
I put that shit on
once
everything.
you said that, I was starting like, okay, I'll throw one of those on. Let's
Yeah.
see.
I mean,
Let's find out.
I usually will throw like free clip or G clip on like most things, but now that Bitwig has their own, I'm like, thank God I don't have to use like a third party one, and it's got a little visualizer thing, which is always nice to see, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
precisely what's happening.
We're up to the top now.
Right. And it goes 6 dB above 0 as well. Like it's set at 0, like the knob, like where the threshold is, but you can throw it to plus 6 so that you can throw shit in hotter
Okay.
and then clip down from there, which is pretty nice.
That's
It's-
nice.
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty handy.
That's like the new steez, like getting over and then mixing,
Mhm.
clipping down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and instead of clipping up to 0, you clip down, which
Okay.
is, yeah, you can just get shit like I'll accidentally have shit at like -3 LUFS. I'm like, whoa, that probably can calm down a little bit. This is a vibey track. It doesn't need to be
Just ambient.
yeah, it's just like cranked. I'm like, whoa,
Dude, Camel Crush the pads. We were
You're
talking
right,
about
you're right,
that.
yeah,
Come
you're
on.
you're right.
Mix it up.
I mean, it's in 32-bit floating point, so I just turn it down and it's fine, which is nice. Shout out modern DAWs.
Yeah. Basically all of them.
Do you clip on the master, or do you use the default where you just export out and just use Ableton export to 0?
I just have like a clipper that like cuts it before 0. Like
Yeah.
if I take the G clip off, it's like pushing above for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you do it with G clip. You don't just do it on the export.
Yeah, but I have like G clip at like 98. Like it's not really doing much. It's just taking off that whatever's over 0 pretty
Right.
much.
Right.
Yeah.
Just keeping it safe.
Are you
Yeah.
you just throwing it at the master, Victor?
I'll do different ones for every song. I've really liked following. I've really been gain staging lately and going into like limiters. So getting pretty close to 0 with compression and then kind of doing that last little boost with the limiter. I have done it just export raw out and use the natural clip in
Yeah.
Ableton. I don't feel personally that I have as much control when I do that, but you can get them really fucking loud that way.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're making.
I've actually
Again.
never tried, Loki.
Yeah, I
don't
don't
care
really
that
care
much.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't feel like it can possibly be that much different.
So you want to know something that I found out that's interesting is like clipping the master is like something the mastering engineers, and I heard this, right? I haven't like done any research or talked to a mastering engineer. And I'm trying to remember
It's
where
kind
I
of
heard
info we like on this podcast.
Yeah. But I actually think I heard Seth Drake talking about it on some podcast where he's just like, mastering engineers have been clipping for years and they just weren't telling anybody that they were doing
Of course
it.
they weren't.
Yeah.
Those
So,
fucks.
So
of course.
once everybody figured it out, it's like it's good technique and good strategy and it's been done. It was just
Right.
it was an industry secret.
Right. Secret.
Or
Those
industry
bastards.
is a weird one, but
Right.
people were keeping it close to home as I get it.
Yeah.
Ancient
Oh, sure.
Chinese recipe.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I have things that I don't tell anybody, for sure. Like,
What?
yeah,
What are you-
always mix with your balls out.
All right.
Always makes it hotter. Always makes it hotter.
Good
guys.
to know.
It's a free tip for you guys out there in the Dawverse.
Only the balls.
Only the balls. Yes.
Shit.
Only the balls. Make sure you got short shorts so you
com-
can just
it's
kind of
complicated,
squeeze them
but
out.
yeah.
Little Daisy
Okay.
Dukes.
Preferably Levi's, but you can use any jean you want.
I've been following we've talked about this a couple times, but clipping versus compressing and limiting based on whatever like the loudest frequency content is. So if it's like high end clipping,
Mhm.
if it's mid range limiting,
Yep.
and then compressing for low end.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, I find that if I'm clipping and it's like something really bass heavy, I just get like a fuzzy, like shitty, like on
Yeah.
the top of it that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
It gets,
But like on the high end, it works great. So like, if you really want to get crazy, you just like a 3-way multi-band with like clipper on the highs, limiter on the mids,
Mhm.
and a compressor on the low end,
Dude, that's fucking
and slam that
sick.
shit, and then you
Yeah.
just sit there and like just get everything just nice and tidy to where it's
Mhm.
not actually making any more extra like frequency harmonics or whatever,
Mhm.
even though it is, but like shit that you're not hearing very well.
right, or that
It works really
adds.
Yep.
It kind of adds to this.
Doing that and then adjusting your highs versus low volume and then into another limiter.
Hmm.
Now we're talking. Now
Mhm.
you're getting loud, baby. It'll get it loud. And like, I have to fucking crank my high end. My high end, I was fucking with this tune yesterday and I'm like, my high end's nowhere near where I need it to be because I just looked at my
Span.
analyzer.
No.
Yeah, Vision 4X.
Vision
actually.
4X,
Shout
shout
out Noisia. And I'm like, my high end is nowhere near. And I went and I did like an EQ on the master just to see how bad it was. And it was like, I was boosting a shelf on my high end at like
12.
like 8K or something. Like, like, yeah, so much to get it up to the like level that I need it to, which sometimes that just means my bass is too loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's commonly a thing, but my mids are doing fine. So
Yeah, your mids are
probably not
always nice.
so much the low end as
Yeah.
it is just I need to bring my high end up. I just don't like hearing it in my room all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
Yeah.
annoying.
That's been one of my focuses the past like 2 months is just trying to nail down high end. I was sending some of my tracks to some of the homies, and a lot of them were saying like, "Oh, your mixes are like brighter than the typical, more or less." But like they were saying like, "Oh, mixes are like becoming brighter and brighter," and it was weird because like I'll reference some other like guys in the style, and they are a little bit darker. Like as far as the high end goes, it's tucked a little bit more. But like I don't know, every time I make it, like I love that brightness. It's just more like in your face. It's more just like present.
Sure.
But I'm
Such a
scared
weird problem to have.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Although
is.
Victor
right?
might have a little bit of that. I feel like you can go pretty bright with your stuff.
I'm really attentive to it, but like honestly, no. I have real bad hearing, as you guys know. So the high end for me is where my ears actually like don't hear well. So I kind of do it all with analysis. And lately, to be honest, I've been filling that whole spot up with like hi hats lately, and kind of like taking highs off of a lot of shit. So I changed my mixing quite a bit. I've been making a lot of like garagey kind of sounding tunes too, so I don't know if this is applicable to like every kind of genre.
Oh
but,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I pretty much let the hats carry like the entire high end
Yeah.
content.
Yeah, same.
Mhm.
Yeah, one thing with that is I've noticed for myself, I will get my hi-hats nice and like really nice and high-endy, but what I lack is like good automating of the high end for like the lower moments. And when I remember it, every single time I remember it, and I'm like, oh, I can just like shelf or like do a high pass or a low pass filter for these like sections before it gets to like the main section.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes such a fucking massive difference.
It really
It's
does.
so insane.
Yeah.
Just turning down the highs before you get to like the really, really big part, and then those fucking highs are just right there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you don't even have to like
Some variety.
you don't even have to
Right.
like high cut and completely kill the
No,
highs. Like you
no.
can just shelf and tuck them a little.
Yep.
I've noticed a lot. Like Tipper does this thing where like on his build-ups and intros, like all of his sounds are still like very, very present. It's not like a lo-fi beat where everything's like in a tiny little box and then the beat comes in, you know? And I was always like, how does he like fucking get this to still be present but still make the drop hit harder? And it's like that concept, like shelve the highs just like -6, -3, whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
And then also shelving the sub. And I've
Mhm.
seen
Yeah.
Skrillex do
Yeah.
this as well, where
Oh, for
like
sure.
he'll have like respaces, and if you throw it into like some sort of spectrum analyzer, you can see like the sub is there. Like it's definitely not just like fully cut out, but it's like a tiny little boy just to give like a little bit of weight.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you wouldn't really even like hear,
Mhm.
but without it, like there's you feel the difference, especially on
yeah.
a giant sound system.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
When it's
sure.
really loud, you can definitely, you're like, oh, it just has body, and then it's just a wall.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. That shit's huge.
Shelves.
Yeah,
They're
we've
fucking sick,
talked about
dude.
it on this show before. I have like a rack that I'll throw in on like the pre-master or whatnot that has just a shelf on either side of the spectrum, and it just has one knob, and it just brings them down or brings them up,
Yeah.
and you just sit there and just
Let's go.
suck them and then let it
Yeah.
go.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you have like a far away rack or something that does that?
That's for like tucking something. So it's essentially the same thing, but then you introduce a little bit of reverb to push it back.
Mm.
There's like a build-up drop rack where it's essentially doing that, where it's just shelving low end and high end, and then you can also tame it and bring it in a little bit more centered, so that way when it comes in fully, you just bring in and introduce the whole stereo spectrum.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Bringing your width in before you get to the
Right.
Just, just a
main hit.
little bit.
Yeah.
That is a rack. I don't always do that, but yeah, that's a good technique.
Totally.
Will you guys do this like during the songwriting process, or do you try and wait till like the song's fleshed out and you like throw it on the master kind of thing to do the like shelves the highs and lows on the build up?
When I think about it.
Whenever
it
you
happens.
remember to do
Yeah.
it.
Basically.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
I
about
don't.
you guys? Yeah.
I don't do a lot on the master, honestly, because like somebody told me pretty early, like if you're doing something on the master, then it's just a problem you didn't fix earlier. So I
Yeah,
just try to go
sure.
back in and like
Better to fix it in the
yeah.
mix.
Yep.
I only have a limiter on the master. I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
move.
And to answer your question, I used to do it on the master, but now I just know that I need to do that now, so I do it at like track level stuff.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. It's just ingrained into your workflow.
Yeah,
Where
I
you're like,
just-
oh, I'm working on the basses, do the thing, working on the percussion.
I think it's
do
a
the
good
thing.
idea, like for anybody listening. I think it's probably a good idea to try and get to it at some point when you have some kind of arrangement scenario happening. Like, don't do it like too early where you're kind of in loop mode or something like that.
Right.
Although, like, sure, go for it. Duplicate the channel, make a new one that's like less high end or something, or whatever
yeah.
the thing is that you want to do. But definitely not early on something like a major group.
Yeah.
But early on all the elements individually, now we're going to build out like a more organic sounding vibe, just because you do it on everything a little bit different, then it just feels a little more natural rather
Right.
than like on a major group. Although major group, if I do at the end of my process, I will still then do some like master automating, because for one thing, like my limiting and shit isn't going to be hitting really until the drop, because everything else is kind of like tucked anyway. Because I'm going to want it to be a little bit less loud, and it might even be a little more dynamic. Sometimes. I don't know, maybe not. That might not be true. But I like to take I'll do a compressor with volume at either side. So I turn my signal way down, like 10 dB, and then I put a plus 10 dB on the other side of my compressor, so I can automate the threshold all the way up, and then it doesn't do anything at all. But then before that, you automate the threshold down, so it just does compressing to bring the volume down instead of like just automating the volume in general. Because compression kind of makes things sound a little bit further away,
Right.
like kind of naturally, because that's how the world is.
Air.
So it's like a fun way to like get a little bit more difference in tone on like the pre-drop or whatever.
Right.
The thing
Right.
is. It's just a trick that I like. I'm not saying it's a good one,
Sure.
but I enjoy it personally.
Yeah, I'll do kind of similar thing. Like I don't normally automate stuff on the master, but that's why I have two pre-masters. Like one pre-master has just the drums and bass, and one has everything else.
Yeah, it's a pre-master for me too.
Yeah, so I'll like do a lot of that kind of stuff either in there or then from there down to the groups or down to the track
Right.
level. But usually my master will have like a compressor, then possibly a clipper, then let them limiter in that order.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah, I'll have a
It
clipper and a limiter at least.
also depends on like the track. If I'm making like a fucking banger, and yeah, it's probably just gonna be a clipper and a limiter, and the clipper might not be doing anything, you know.
Right.
But if it's more of a saucy track and I want kind of more juice kind of moving around, I'll throw a little compressor on there. That's a 2-to-1, and it's just making sure the transients are nice and poppy, basically. But masters, you know.
Oh,
How do they
masters.
work?
Oh, masters talk.
Masters, how do they work?
Yeah, so I actually have a question about masters. So I've been doing a bunch of masters for my homies lately. Like
Let's go.
when I do my own, I'd never run into this problem, but I've been running into it quite a bit with theirs.
Hmm.
And there's like this bass between like 300 and 700
Sure.
that's like as soon as I start pushing it, like at all, it starts clipping. Like, do you guys have
Yeah.
any?
Bad mixing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
not totally wrong.
but there's
it's-
ways to fix that. I would fuck with some like mid-side EQ.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I say
Like,
boost it more. Add more mud, dude. That's
Yeah.
that's what
like
the
I like
people
to
want.
push it I would push it into whatever to get like the shitty tone out of it,
and see where
and
it
then
is.
like scroll like a bell on like the sides,
Okay.
you know, to just see if like, is there a spot where if I'm like ducking the sides
Mhm.
that it like stops being annoying like that.
Yeah.
Or even like a dynamic EQ kind of thing. On the mids too, I'd try either.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
would start with
to
the.
see if it works.
I would definitely start on the sides because the likelihood of you needing really wide 300s is fairly low.
Right.
So if they let a lot of that bleed in, you could get rid of a lot of it, and it's not going to change a lot because there's still going to be a lot
Right,
of
that
300s
makes sense.
in the
It sounds like it's too dynamic
Yeah.
in that
It's
area.
like it's like the bass itself is literally only in that area. Like there's no highs, no lows on it, and like I'll try to like do some EQing and shit, and it's like
and then it's just thin
nothing.
as fuck.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that deep wub music you showed me earlier, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't have a suggestion for you.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't-
a lot of that is kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it's just too much bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the balance tonally, shout out tonally balance.
Tonal.
Yeah, it's just there's like the tilt is off. There's just too much
Right.
for what the top end is.
You're good.
Go ahead. And yeah, so it is a juggling act for sure.
Yeah.
Like I still struggle with a lot of that even today because I'll just get ahead of myself and just make shit that's fucking muddy as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, and definitely when you're EQing a lot of that, go linear
Right.
with it so you don't have any smearing,
Yeah.
especially if it's really dynamic.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird. Like I never ran into that problem with my own music. It's like only other people's, and I'm like, what is going on? Like I don't get it. Like usually my stuff I can push to like -5 LUFS, no problem.
Yeah.
And this stuff's like sitting at like 8 or 9. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably not compressed. Like those sounds aren't getting compressed enough, especially in that like area.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, especially if it's like, yeah, listen to hear how dynamically it's hitting the limiter as well. If it's just constant like, then the whole spot just needs to come down.
Okay.
If it's like, then it just needs to be compressed and like really kind of squashed so it just stays within a certain bound the whole time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is tricky. It is tricky. I've been doing this for 10 years and still I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Trying to fix shit
Yeah.
in mastering is like a nightmare. It's
Yeah,
not.
definitely,
It's not
definitely.
a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Don't expect a lot from your mastering engineers.
Yeah, that's
everybody.
that's when I would like kind of go back to them and be like, hey, you need to fix something with this bass and this bass in this spot. Like
Right.
it's
Okay.
hitting the limiter weird. I would tell them to throw it up against a limiter themselves to like really kind of replicate the issue and see
Mhm.
if then they can sit there and compress it and fine tune it so it's
Yeah,
not
dude,
smashing it.
yeah.
Okay.
Like
Mhm.
ideally, they could do an EQ on that thing. Like
EQ that thing.
EQ on that thing. I have to
Fuck,
fucking
cool.
constantly, like, I don't do it as much as I was for a while, but like EQing down the fundamental on like a mid-range sound and then limiting or
Mm-hmm.
saturating it is like the juice because you
Oh.
get all the frequency content that you want without like getting that shitty like
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Dude, Dave, that has been, and it's so funny. Like you've talked about
We
that. On
we
the
were
pod
harping on it for years.
Yeah.
for fucking so long now. And the past like 2 months, I've actually like really started to understand how sick that actually is.
Yeah.
A lot of my
It works
basses,
so good.
I'll do like a little fill, like an octave up or like a fifth up. So it's starting to get to like B0 and C0, like a little bit higher. That weird like 100 to 200 territory. Yeah. And I always have trouble with like, it sounds fine in my studio, but then I play it in my car and then it's
Right.
just like,
it just rattles the dashboard.
yeah. And it's just like, oh my God. So yeah,
Um,
I've been playing with just like tuck the fundamental. Like it really isn't as important as you think.
Yeah.
Because like in my mind, I'm like the fundamentals, like the foundation of the sound. Like you need it because it's presence and like snares have a fundamental. But like no, you can literally like kill the fundamental completely sometimes, and the sound is still just
Oh, yeah.
like, perfect.
It's amazing what your ears will fill in.
Yeah.
A quick caveat on that: I would shelf it. I wouldn't necessarily put a bell down on the fundamental. If the fundamental's at like 30 to 70 hertz,
Why is that?
because you're gonna get peaks on either side of the bell.
If your notes are moving.
Not only that,
and
but
down?
just the way a bell works, it's sending the phased version of that into that, and it's going to cause phasing upwards on either end of the bell.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you use
I
a
fully agree.
shelf,
Yeah.
then at least you're just going to get the
Phasing
phasing
on
bell
one
on
side.
one side. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
interesting.
And if
yeah,
you
that
use
makes sense.
linear, then it's going to do a pre-ring as opposed to a what's the word?
Phase
Post ring.
something.
No, a pre-ring instead of a smear,
Right.
which the pre-ring is a lot easier to deal with and is a lot easier masked with other sounds than
Right.
than the other. Like at this point, I use linear EQ almost exclusively, unless it's a pad.
Same.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Since Kyoto.
Yep,
Kyoto is
basically.
like, I do nothing other than linear things
Yeah.
before groups.
which
We're
his
like, whoa.
transients sound beautiful. So I was like, I should.
His tunes
probably
are
do that.
crispy as fuck.
Yeah.
They're dry.
Yeah,
They're very dry.
They're very
and very
dry.
like mono.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like full mono, but very like fucking center.
I thought his songs had depth, and I asked him about depth. He's like, I don't really do.
yeah, he's
much
like, I don't care. I
on
don't
the
really
width
think about
side
it.
of things. I
Yeah.
was like, then why did I feel like it had so much depth? That's kind of fucking weird and
I know,
cool.
right? It's because he has those single little moments at the end of like a 4-bar, 8-bar that just has depth. So then
Yeah.
you're used to the non-depth.
The
and
contrast.
The
Well, yeah.
contrast. And then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, so much depth because of this 2
yeah.
section.
I mean, if you have
really stands out.
nine out of 10 things that are all at 0, and then you have one thing that's like quiet, you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much depth happening.
Yeah.
It's just because it's the contrast between the two, you know?
I mean, dynamic range for sure.
Yep,
It has that at the very least.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's hilarious because you can take that to an extreme and have like, I had a phase where like every single bass hit, every like 2 beats would be like a different stereo image and a different depth, and some would have like a tight reverb and some wouldn't. And it just creates this like gross chaos where your ears can't like latch to
Yeah,
anything.
there's too much.
There's too much, yeah. You need to like set a vibe and a tone for a sec in order to break that tone for that moment that gives everyone a hard on where you're just like, oh, they did the thing for the second, now there's depth.
Bricked up in the studio,
Bricked
dude.
up in the studio.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that too. That's
Shout out
so good.
Copycat.
Was that a copycat one?
Yeah.
Fucking Andre.
Oh, we're fucking bricked up in the studio. Oh, nor. Our Aussie friend. Yeah, depth can be hard.
Depth is hard. Also finding depth and intricacy in your promoters in your local area is hard.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that guy who's getting canceled?
Oh, no. Who? What?
It apparently, I think it just happened like today or 2 days ago, but like Chris something with like Ignite something. I don't know if that's the label or a company, but he does like huge events for like people like Sudden Death, Ray Volpe, Eptic.
Hmm.
And apparently he's just been doing some fucking horrible shit. And Eptic and Ray Volpe on their Twitter have just been going off on like, this isn't the first time we've seen people like do shitty
Yeah,
things.
of course.
Like artists are getting canceled, but like no one's talking about promoters as much. And they were trying to just be like, yo, fucking look at these promoters too, because apparently like half of them are assholes.
Yeah, that.
I'm getting word from the producer that he beat his woman, and his name is Attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what.
And
Wow,
he's in
you found
jail.
that quick, Jamie. Holy shit. He's already in jail. Damn. Yeah, he fucking beat his girlfriend, I guess, or something.
People are shitty. It doesn't matter if they're promoters or artists. There's just shitty fucking people out there.
So all the newer up and comers, question the fuck out of your promoter
Be
when you get your
warned.
very first show. Fucking no.
Are you a wife
I don't know. Yeah. Just ask every promoter. Are you a wife beater though, dude?
Because they'll totally be honest with you.
You into minors?
Are
The
you
lolly?
Are you into? Yo, dude, are you into minors or not?
Are you into minors?
Yo, I love F minor, dude.
That's fair.
I love
dude.
minor.
I fucking exclusively write in minors. How about you? Do you ever write in major?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit.
saucy.
Major can be fun. It can
Yeah.
be super fun.
We got there today.
Yeah, we were writing a happy song.
Oh no shit! Let's go.
Aw.
The question is it any good?
Oh,
To be determined.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
that's
TBD,
subjective,
TBD.
Caleb. So
It's kind of not though.
Yeah, kind of not.
It's not for you, for your own self.
right. For your own.
I mean, it is.
it is kind of interesting in music. Like you can't say it is like a fully subjective thing, but there is like 100% objectively bad music.
Oh, yeah.
Like anybody, their first year making music is like 99.9% objectively just shit music. You know,
Mhm.
Yep. But you gotta trudge through that.
you gotta trudge through the sludge.
Goddamn, truer words have never been said. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I usually write minors.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, minor's the way. Actually, I have a problem where I write in E minor so much. I've been building this set, which is my like first bass set.
And it just stays at E minor the whole time.
Not the whole time, but it's like 70% E
Hey,
minor.
it
and
makes
I'm
it
like,
easy to mix.
is this boring? Like having that one sub at E minor every
right.
song.
It
like,
will kind of.
It is pretty funny.
It'll handicap you in.
Yeah.
Caleb
some
and
way.
I have we put all our songs together the other day, and we're like, all mine are in E minor,
And
and
all
his
mine
are in
in
F minor.
Oh God.
I'm like, oh, we have a thing that we just figured out.
Yeah.
So I've been writing in F sharp minor
Yep.
recently.
I've been-
just to fucking.
I've been writing
I just
in
need
there?
to like a lot of songs are in F sharp minor, like a lot
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the bass world.
Yeah. 100%.
So I was like, well, I should probably get some things going in this
I've been
because
writing in E flat.
I'm like back to backing with the homie, playing songs, bass songs, and I'm like, oh man, my stuff's low.
Yeah.
Every single song's way lower than most people's songs. Weird,
Yeah.
That is weird.
but whatever.
Also,
I'll take it.
I wrote one in G the other day and put it in the car, and it just
Sang.
sang on the motherfucker. It's insane. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot G was a thing.
I've been writing in G sharp minor a lot.
G sharp.
Whoa.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, that scares me.
Love that.
That's too high.
Ah.
I could do some
Okay.
like UKG shit, but like bass music in
No,
G sharp.
I've been writing a lot of garage tunes. Remember?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. I've been
Mhm.
writing a lot of garage tunes, and
That makes sense.
I can't. There's some very sad chords in G sharp.
Oh my
minor.
God, yeah.
So like, I've been working.
Oh,
They're,
sure.
they're
For
really
some
hitting
reason.
you in the heart, huh?
I'm good.
That is that chest area, you know.
Nostalgic
You're
for
getting
sure.
that really- you know, that G sharp, it's gonna really rattle your chest.
Those heartstrings.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense for the older school things because they didn't have the possibility of
They have the
of
same sub kind of.
yeah, they couldn't recreate a D
situation.
or a fucking C sharp
Mm.
back in the day.
So I've heard this song a few times with the Black Box, and I couldn't like figure out what it was, and it finally came out, and it's like A sharp, and it's like the
No.
loudest shit I've heard in
Hell,
a
I
long
believe
time.
that. I believe it's
What?
loud as fuck.
It's so it sounds so crazy. Shout out
Yeah.
Rumble.
Rumble.
It's
Is
the
that the
song's
artist
called,
or the
yeah,
song name?
artist
Yeah,
is
the
Rumble.
Rumble.
Songs for fuck's sake.
For fuck's
Okay.
sake.
Yeah, FFS.
All right, we're gonna play that after the pod.
Yeah, it's
We're
ridiculous.
gonna play it right now. No, I'm
Does
just kidding.
that
And it's just loud as shit in the black box.
It's the loudest song I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, it's
does the
just-
sub sound good?
It's the sub. That's what I was like, what the fuck is this?
Wild.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Like when you think about like mixing music, your fundamental, like if you mix a tune with like a D
Mhm.
as like the low end, you cannot get the high end
Yeah.
as fucking crazy, So like you move that bass up, now you can bring the high end up more. You have way more headroom. You can smash the fuck out of that thing. I bet it gets loud as shit.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Oh, that does actually
Yeah.
fucking make perfect sense.
It does make sense. You just
Yeah.
need to keep it balanced like anything else. But like,
55 hertz.
Yeah.
No,
Is A sharp?
58 hertz. Yeah.
Yeah.
damn,
Yeah, that's just.
that is a high ass sub.
What
That
is
just-
that? Is high. 'Cause what is E? E is like what 38 or
Find
something. 38ish, 40.
Well, E1 is 41, which is like nice in the
What
sweet
about
spot.
D?
Yeah.
37. Yeah, that's when you start getting real low.
I never trust
Yeah.
those charts because it always says like E1, but I think that is actually E0.
Yeah.
They're always like an octave.
You know
up.
which
What
E.
is
You
that?
know which E it's talking about.
Yeah, you know the E, but the
Yeah.
charts are always like different than like the MIDI and our DAWs.
When
I don't understand
if
that.
I open phase plant and it's always 0.
If-
But like,
Middle C is C4,
yeah, I don't know.
then
Right.
we're talking about the ones.
440 is a.
Oh, because in DAWs, middle C is like C3
4 or 5?
for some
Yeah.
reason, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Why?
Four? I believe.
What is that
A4.
about? I don't know.
No clue.
No clue. They just for no reason they're just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we gotta
So
be
that should be the
different.
definitive like
Yeah, that's
thing. 440
what-
is A4.
Yeah.
So
Which is what
that
an
should
orchestra-
be where everything goes.
tunes to.
from.
Oh. So doing your A sub, just right in that little pocket.
At
I made-
440.
Yeah.
Yeah. Destroy your shit.
Always
Also,
440.
every once in a while, you throw a fucking one
Oh,
octave
yeah.
down A.
Oh,
See how you
and then it
see
just,
how it does in the club. Just
Everybody
I would
just
be
shits
down
their
with that
pants.
actually.
I
Should
definitely
make an A tune where it's like and there's just
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just air.
it just sounds like air.
I do a lot of sub drops, and I'll like dip down to that,
Just-
and then like real quick, and then just go right back up.
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
man.
Let it
Yeah.
dip.
Yeah.
I'm consistently disappointed with my friend group because no one uses sub drops that much.
Hey.
Caleb will get some. I was
gonna
gonna say,
like, hey,
yeah. Caleb will drop some sub drops, but like I have a sub drop obsession. Like every song I'm fucking, and I fucking feel like shit because it for me personally it's like a cop out because I do it in every fucking song. But I just
As you
but it
should.
love
it kind
them.
of
They're
works
so
in every
good.
song.
It's like
They're
you
so
you get to
good.
the end of the drop, and then I've seen so many people just like the start of the break. There's no sub. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, let it roll down.
it feels a little weird,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a creative move
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
I've been trying to break my boundaries and figure out like when is the right place to do the sub drop or when is the right place like at the break when you're transitioning. Like maybe if you don't full gigantic sub drop, but you just have a little like tucked sub like we were talking about with Skrillex and Tipper. Like you gotta have like a little bit of presence after
Yeah,
your
you gotta have
big fucking
something.
drop moment. Yeah, or it feels just like weird. It doesn't.
All right, I'll put more sub drops in my tunes. Austin.
Yes.
There
Do
we
it,
go.
Dave.
The one thing that I've been
I do them a little bit.
You do.
Yeah,
I've
it's true.
heard you.
Yeah, I do it.
I like to transition into a break on the snare hit, on the last snare hit, but that snare is tuned way low, so it's just
Mm.
like that. That is some of my favorite shit to do ever. Cause
You
it's like
love your
all
like.
a thing, and then it's just and it just like
Drops it.
resets the moment.
Yeah.
It's great. I fucking love that shit.
I do love that with your songs because I do always notice it where it's just like you have that one snare that's just
Yeah,
the cool guy snare for a moment. Yeah,
It's
and I'm
great.
like, fuck,
It's so much
I
fun.
They are
do so much
great.
shit like
Yeah.
that.
Varying the snares is a good
Yeah,
move.
have a
Oh,
bunch of
yeah.
snares, guys.
Yep.
There's nowhere in the rule book that says you need just one snare the whole time.
Nope.
Like,
Do you guys think it's too much if like every snare, like every beat, has like a completely different tone?
Yeah, that's too much. for
That's too
sure.
much, right?
Yeah, I do like I have my main snare, and I'll like build a big chain, and then I'll just duplicate it and turn the next one up one semitone.
sure.
Oh,
and
there
then
you go.
Just go between them.
Yeah.
Oh, so like
Yeah.
like first snare is like
I'll do
0, and then second snare is one semitone,
Yeah.
and then third snare is 0. So you do like
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
That
That's
is
nice,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
I also will put it in a sampler and just put a random on the pitch and just let it kind of just go between -1 and 1 and just wherever it
Oh.
lands.
Yeah.
It's just every time I print, the snare is like slightly different.
Some weird in
Every
between.
single time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I
That
love
is
that shit.
that is
Drives me crazy.
that's the
Oh, yeah.
difference between trying to
Yeah.
do like contrasting like randomness not the way to put it, like contrasting difference within elements and things like you want to do in general, but like putting a random on there. Caleb and I are really into this sort of shit.
Yeah, we like the RNG.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Y'all find out one
Sure.
day. But yeah, a lot of the time the response from other producers is like, I can't do that.
You're like, ew,
No.
what? You just
But
let
like
it
we're dialing
randomize?
it. We're dialing it so fucking careful. It's
Yeah, it's random.
you're gonna
within
get
very set
one that's like a
parameters.
little weird every once in a while, but
You hear it and switch it out with something.
it's kind of
the one
no.
that-
I like that it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I
to me-
want it to be like a little wrong because
also-
that's how the world works. I
Yeah.
like that.
and we also come from bands, and
Right.
like
People notice that
there's
shit.
different takes and shit like that. Yeah, but also
I mean, they
you
don't
might
notice it.
Yeah,
They-
you don't notice it. That's the thing but it gives it an organic kind of feel where it's just
they
kind of
notice
like
it
hitting it.
subconsciously is how they
Right.
notice it.
Yeah, I do random stuff, but I always freeze and flatten that. Like I can't. It
Yeah.
drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I will by the time I get to a mixing stage, it'll end up getting frozen down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and low-key, I'm not really randomizing my snares very much. Every once in a while I'll do that.
That's not like I do that on every track, but I will occasionally do that, especially on like
It's a fun move.
jungle or drum and bass.
See,
on
that
the
makes
off
Totally.
more
snares.
sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Sure.
off snares, I need them just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, in like a dubstep dub, fucking that kind of shit, like the snares are so fucking loud and like
And long.
obvious and like supposed to be like a main course. Like,
Yeah.
being
a
really
main course.
they're the cool guy.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it makes sense to pay a bunch of attention to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, always paying all the attention to your snares. Like, come on, you have to.
Yeah. Snares.
Snares.
Yeah,
I wish we had that Noisia shirt that just says snares.
The
Great
only two
shirt.
people I know who still have that are
Jean?
John Restraint and Kyle, Mr. Aeon.
Oh, does Kyle? Of course.
Voyage, yeah.
Yeah.
The two fucking
The
D&D nerds. Yeah.
I am the only one though that has the Noisia filter shirt.
Whoa.
can't get that shit anymore.
Let's go.
Hey, shout out their Patreon. Although maybe they still do if you're on the Patreon. I don't know.
So I had this fun revelation literally like 2 days ago. And it's so simple, like when you think about it, but it's something I've never done in my production before. Literally just automating a mid-side filter differently through like a 4-bar section or something. I don't know why I've never thought about it, but yeah, I've been. So the simplest form of like what I've been playing with is just like cutting the high end on the mid and side, and like maybe your mid ducks down for 2 bars and then your side pops up, and then they do a little vice
That's
versa kind of thing.
super
That's
fun.
a fun move.
Yeah, it's a super fun move.
It sounds so fucking cool because it like
What do you
Yeah.
put that on? You putting that on pads? You putting that on super melodic elements or what?
I'm trying it on literally everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've
On your snares?
on percussion. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
specifically not for like drops. I've been scared to play with that yet. Like maybe fills you could get away with it, but I've been doing it for like intro elements that are a little more like tucked and like it makes sense to do it there.
Sure.
And it's weird because like after doing it, you hear this like movement in the sound, and you're just like, oh, like it's fucking like warping all fun. But you wouldn't really necessarily pick up on the fact that like the stereo's spreading in a weird way unless you're like really
Yeah.
listening.
yeah.
And I don't know, I love that like kind of effect. where it's
Totally.
just-
Totally. I want to fuck with that.
Sub
Dude.
sub
Yeah, it sounds
subconscious.
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. That's a good idea.
And then it makes me wonder. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot, but like, what are some other fun ways that you could like amp that up instead of just
I
playing
mean,
with high end? Like,
I'll do
how
that,
do we-
but in a left-right idea. Like I've
Oh,
done that
shit,
where the left and
left-right.
right filter differently. I have a little rack
oh,
that
fuck.
will do that I'll put on pads. If the pad's like boring, I'll do that and then just put the mix at like 35%. So
Right.
it's like a pad, but it's
Sure.
like kind of moving around a little bit side to side.
So let's say you have a left right high cut filter, so it's like left cuts and then right cuts at like a half beat or whatever, and then you have a stereo one doing it to both of them that's doing it every like 1 bar or something.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have like 2 rhythms
a
going over
mid-watt.
each other.
Yeah, they're
Mid-side
kinda
and a
thing.
left-right happening at the same time.
Yeah,
I
but
have
at
them-
different tempos, so it's like
yeah. I don't do them at any
Love
tempo.
this.
It is full random.
full random.
Yeah,
oh.
I just
Same.
full fucking random because I don't want it to like syncopate with anything. I want it to be like organic sounding, like it's an instrument just kind of moving around.
Yeah, that
Oddly.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
especially
do
with,
like
a
the
pad
idea.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Especially
I will do
pad,
that.
Yeah.
I will do that often, actually. If I put a filter on a thing and I'll put a random on it and do like a little delay reverb thing, and I'm like, it's still boring, then I'll split it into left, right,
Right.
oftentimes, and just duplicate the filter out into both.
Yeah.
And then it's already doing a random, so it's just kind of slightly doing a different thing.
Right.
Yep.
Ooh,
Fucking, it's getting me pumped.
some dead air there. That was nice.
Inside. trying to think of like fun ways to do the mid side like fuckery like you're.
I'll
just
do a
talking
different
about. That's
delay
fun.
on like the mids, and then a different delay on the sides.
There you go. That's a move. Any sort of mid-side processing.
Yeah, I've only done it like twice, and I keep forgetting about it.
I know. I always forget too, right?
I'm sure I would love like a notch on the mids. Kind of moving around would be kind of fun, or the sides. Honestly, either way.
Yeah, I was
Would
just
be
gonna
kinda
say
nice.
like some sort of Formant filter. A lot of my bass design, and just a lot of the sounds I make are like based off Formant filters and like phasers.
Really,
So
I
you
couldn't
could-
tell.
I know it's not obvious at all, but you could. I'm sure you could do some fucking really cool shit with that.
Yeah,
like
no.
left, right, or mid side. I've been doing it more of like a primitive way where I'll like flatten one sound and then duplicate it and have like one left and one right, and then process them differently. So I guess I am doing like a left right thing, but I'm imagining it as like if you did like a parallel rack,
Right.
a little more concise.
Or for us, a container,
Container.
which is pre-built for us.
It's true.
Bitwig is
Shut up,
better,
Bitwig.
everybody. What format filters do you use?
So there's a few I cycle through, but lately the best thing is to just make your own. It's so much more fun.
All right.
Honestly the Serum, just like stock format ones, are ones I used forever.
Okay.
They sound really, really sick because those ones specifically
Yoy.
are targeting specific vowels.
Mhm.
Those ones are actually set to not just be random peaks and dips. They're actually targeting like vowels, which is cool. But it's kind of fun to just not target vowels and just do weird shit. You get like
Right.
fucked up.
Target some consonants, Bo.
Target some
Come on.
consonants.
Yeah, why aren't we doing the consonants?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
because
Get a
they
C
don't
in your
elongate.
Yeah.
Fuck
Unless it's like
E-I-O or U, dude.
Like
Sometimes W.
what's a long consonant?
3K.
Z.
Just it's all 3K. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. But Shade is my fucking favorite. Fab
Shade.
Pro Q
Yeah.
is like a good secondary. They're basically the same exact thing, but something about Shade is just fun because you can set up like macros and LFOs and all the shit.
Mhm.
Whereas like Fab Pro Q, you have to like add an LFO and Ableton.
You've
or
got that
Bitwig
far
or
into
whatever.
Shade, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I pull it up every once in a while, and then I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I use the combs on
This-
it, but that's about it.
There's a time and place. I feel like it makes
Interesting.
sense for like
I should fuck with it more.
people like me and my fucking
Yeah.
weird ass
Yoy.
autistic
Fart
left field
noises.
scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
fart noise, squishy bass scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen Resident Language use it. I know John likes it. But that one's really fun because you can just customize your formants, and it has like preset like phasers where you can choose if the phaser has like one dip and peak compared to like 2 or 3 or 7,
Right.
and then cum filters, or you could like just build your own and make it fucking do weird shit.
Cum filters.
Cum filters.
Uh,
And I think there's actually like a left, right, and mid side option
I think so.
with the
think
filters,
you're
which I've
right.
never touched. So
Yeah.
I guess now is the time.
You know what? Now is also the time for.
Oh God.
It's hot.
It's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts. Chef Wamp, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Everywhere. I'm just Chef Wamp. It's pretty simple.
Hell yeah.
Chef Wamp, baby.
Yeah.
That's with
Nice and
a.
easy.
Nobody's taking that one?
Where can I?
Hey, Womp with an A.
Yeah.
He just released his last EP on Pornhub
true.
exclusively.
Yeah.
So go check it out there,
Bow,
Chef
chicka,
Womp.
bow, wow.
Yeah, I make
He's
about
everywhere.
5 to 10% of my music's about cum, so whatever makes you happy, you know?
5 to 10% about cum, the other 90% about ass. Like,
Hell
it's a
yeah.
good vibe.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in for episode 168. Chef Wamp, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, of course.
We did it.
Any Heights, again, we love you as always. Thanks for bringing some tortillas. That was delicious.
That was
Thank
delicious.
you. Folks, hit the like, subscribe, follow button, all those things you know how to do because you're all Gen Zers. And we'll see you guys next week on the producer line. See you guys. Tons on the flip side. Goodbye.